guys, we got this. Let's go. Gun wide trip sweep. Pros X go. On one. Ready?
Right.
What's going on, everyone? AndCap24 here from HuddleGG. In today's video, we're going to talk about beating Spinner on the ground and show you our favorite top 5 run styles in order to beat it. And I say styles because what I want to do is show you different ways to beat it based upon different alignments and different style runs, so that you can adapt this to your playbook and other playbooks that you're going to run, so you don't have to use these specific plays. Now, these can be labeled anywhere 1 through 5 because they're all going to be very effective. And that way you go ahead and say, but I will do them in an order in case you have a opportunity that you want to ask any questions. Okay, so let's talk about Spinner. And all 5 of these are going to have very, very similar concepts, but they're going to be done differently. So this one's out of pistol, and these are the strong power plays. And what you're going to see is that they're all going to have to block the front side slot cornerback on the direction that you're running. So if we're running right, that guy needs to get blocked or your run will get blown up. Now, in this instance, the RB is not going to block him. It's actually going to come from one of the closer guards that's pulling, but it does do the job that we need. The second thing you want to do is you want to have unblocked players on the opposite side of the run in order to even up the numbers game, right? If your running back and your quarterback are not blocking, then you now have 9-on-9 blocking because these two guys aren't going to get blocked, and you're going to be able to get a hat on a hat. So that's basically how it's going to be. Most of the times people are going to do this. They're going to man up the running back, and then they're going to user the player over here. I'll just put him on here just to make sure that we don't, get him out of position. But what you're going to see here is when you run strong power to the trip side, you're going to have the ability to get everybody blocked this way. And you can see how we got about 10 to 12 yards without anybody actually touching us. And the reason for that is exactly what I said before. We have to make sure that this guy right here gets blocked. And what you're going to see is because of our pulling guard, it allows our other player to get up the field to block. So we have these two guys right here, a hat on a hat, right? Now on the backside, like I mentioned before, these two guys back here, we want them to not get any type of blocking situation. And a lot of times that third guy, which is the backside linebacker, doesn't really get somebody blocking him as well. So we're leaving people free, giving us the numbers game. And you can see how well this opens up. And we're going to have that ability to get some big yards each time. So let's go ahead and show you a second example of strong power. I'm going to do it out of a different type of formation so you can understand that we can do motions and different things to get that trips look, so you can kind of think outside the box. That doesn't always have to be a specific formation. So we're called pistol wing slot. I know this is out of the Bengals playbook and some others. And what we're going to do here is we're going to now playmaker this to the left. Okay, so when you playmaker it to the left, what you're going to see is now it's going towards the left side. Let me just set this up just to make sure that we are in good shape here. And to get trips, just move over this player. And what you're going to see is that player on the right backs up. And now you have that ability to get the same thing. We're going to be able to block that slot corner that's above the B with one of our pulling guards. And the players on the right, that are basically on the right side of the screen, are not going to get blocked. And that's fine. As long as we can run and not slow up our run too much, they'll never get it to us, right? So we'll go over here. We'll run through here. You can see how we've got that ability to get these yards and just get some, pick up some, easy yards without really getting touched. If you were to see this on instant replay, we were talking about these guys never get blocked, and that's great because if they don't get blocked, then we have the numbers going to the left, which is great. Now, what you want to do is make sure that you don't run up. You want to run to the left in order to make sure that they don't get to you, which we do here. And you can see how we're out the gate and having those yards and don't get touched until about 12 yards of a gate. So now we're going to go ahead and look at the next style, which is the inside zone split. We'll call this number 4. Now, I really like it out of the gun bunch offset, and we're going to go ahead and show you a different formation, with this example to show you how we can get a very similar look. And the reason for that is that with gun bunch, you're going to have, those 3 players pretty compressed on the right side. But what's going to be nice about it is that you have an open side. What I mean by that is, remember, we don't want to block the backside player in order to get numbers. So these two guys we don't want to block. And because it's got open side, those guys aren't going to be blocked. We're going to hit the hole, prior to that. And what you're going to see is that we can just leave this exactly the way it is, and you're going to get a really nice opportunity of hitting this hole up the middle and really getting some nice yards. That is the intent of the play. Let's show it to you an instant replay so you can see that we're keeping to our principles. Don't block these guys to the outside. Really not initially. The inside zone split will do a good job eventually, but you can see here we really don't need to, right? We got the ball, and those guys are not part of the play. And on the right-hand side, basically make sure that that slot corner gets blocked initially, And you can see how we have that ability to turn up the field and get some really nice yards. Now let's go ahead and look at a different style, same style play, but a different formation. And we're going to do here, we could either do this at a single back where we do it out of the single back bunch, which is already set up for you, right? So here's single back bunch. You can see how you can do the same thing, but I'm going to do one step further, do the tight Y off. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to make sure that you can see that it doesn't have to be this exact play. You can find different styles, right? So here's the single back tight Y off, right? And you can see here that we want to make sure that we move this guy over. And the reason why we do that again is because we want to open up the left side of the field. We got that compression to the right, and you're going to have that same ability to kind of, make it look like bunch, right? Here we go again. You can see how we have that ability to hit that hole, and you're really going right up the gut for easy yards. Inside zone splits, a great way to get those tough, quick yards when you're going against dollar. So now that brings us to number 3, which is going to be halfback stretch. And this is going to have the same principles as the strong power, where we want to do it on a trips type of formation, and we want to do it towards the trips. So we're going to look at the single back Y deep trips. This is going to be a formation that has a stretch in it. I'll show you one out of the Saints when it comes to the single back Y off trio next. And what you're going to see here is that it's going to get the same principles that we've been looking for, right? I'm going to be a broken record here. We need to make sure that we block this player, and we got to make sure that we leave these guys over here, unblocked in order to get the numbers game, right? So that's basically all you're looking for here. And all I'm going to do here is make sure that we're going towards the trip side. So I'm going to playmaker it to the left. And you can see that I'm on the left hash mark because I do believe it's best on the short side with this formation, because now we have the ability for our tight end, to be close enough to that slot corner where he's going to do a reach block. And what you'll see is that he does that. We get that gut, and you can see how we're going to have some really easy yards there. I'll show you an instant replay to make sure that you see, the principles being met. This guy is our first guy. We have to block that slot corner. We block him. He's good, right? We have to leave these guys outside. These guys are not getting blocked at all, which is great, because with stretch, they're no way going to be able to get to you because of how quick of a handoff that is. And you can see that we hit our hole. If we were to get that block here by Metcalf, we would have had the ability to kind of cut up the field. But unfortunately, we didn't get that full block, which ends up giving it a little bit less of a run. So let's go ahead and show you one more example at a single back Y off trio. And this comes out of the Saints playbook. And what you're going to see here is I'm on the left hash mark, so I'm actually going to flip the play. I do believe that it works better to the left side than it does to the right. Just one of those things that Madden, that some things do, some things don't, right? So we'll do the same thing here. We'll make sure that we have our play to the left. It already is. And you can see it's almost the same exact alignment as the previous play that we showed you. And you're going to have that ability to get those reach blocks. And you can see how we have that ability just to take it to the house and really just have some real successful play. Everything works exactly the same. We seal off that left corner. We don't block the right side, and you're going to have a great success, right? So let's go ahead and run it one more time just so you can see how well this works. Again, you can see here that we're in spinner, and we're just going to go ahead and run it to the left. You're going to see how we're going to get that ability to kind of get that seal off block, and we're off. It's just one of those plays that just does a really good job blocking, and something that if you're in that type of playbook in the Saints, you definitely want to add to it against dollar. So now let's look at number 2, which is going to be the quarterback draw out of empty. And this is something that I've been doing for years. If you guys know, empty tray stack was something I developed about 3 years ago. It's just really hit the scene this year when it comes to some other people knowing how good it is. And the quarterback draw is just amazing, right? And the reason for that is the same principles. If you look at the way empty spreads out these guys are so far out that you're able to hit that hole really, really quickly, and them never get to you, right? So what you'll see here a lot of times is that guy's going to get manned up on him so that they have it, and this will be the user, right? And so what you'll see is that this guy over here won't get there because he'll get blocked, and the other guys won't get there because they're so far wide that as long as you go ahead and keep it tight, you're in good shape. You see here, wait on this, you keep it tight, and you can see how nice of a run this is going to be. And what you do want to make sure is that you keep your quarterback on conservative so he doesn't fumble or get something that has trust like in Lamar Jackson. Again, if we go look at the replay of why any type of empty draw is so good, you see that these guys are coming from the outside that are so wide that by the time we go ahead, they're non-factors. And we have the ability to get to second level and be able to get all those yards, right? So let's look at it again here. You can see here that if you go ahead and move these guys down, and we'll go ahead and man this guy up because he's going to be one that's going to get manned up. And you can see here that we're just waiting on that little thing. Follow your guards, cut upside. You're going to have that ability to get some really good yards that way. Let's go look at another empty formation here. So now we're going to look at the empty Y flex quarterback draw, and I picked this one for a reason because the tight end is next to the O-line, and you would think that would be beneficial, but it actually ends up not being as much because this player here, if he was out here, that opens up the middle a lot more, right? And it doesn't have our guys target him as often, right? But over here, it changes the targeting. So what you're going to see here is that if I was just to run this the way it is, the two outside guys that are coming through are going to come through, and it kind of muddies it up a little bit. I'll show you what I mean. We do this, we're trying to get some yards, and we can get some, but you can see that we really have to kind of maneuver ourselves. So what I wanted to show you, there are motions that you're going to find in a lot of empties that are going to help the blocking. And this is one of them, right? So if you were to see this one, this player over here can motion over, right? Let me just get these guys in the same spot. And what that ends up doing is it actually sets it up to where our targeting is a little bit better. And a lot of times we can take this to the left side. I have a lot of success. I just kind of wait a little bit, and then I take it to the left side, and you can see how we're going to have a really nice opportunity to get some yards as well, right? So that's really kind of one of those things that when you look at your empty sets, you look at it and say, how can I make it better depending on what I've got going on, right? And that's kind of that opportunity. Now, the other motion we can do is we can actually motion this tight end to the right side. And if we motion him to the right side, he actually goes to the inside and now picks up that player, setting up our blocking scheme a lot better in that regard, right? And if you see here, what ended up happening is this is going to give you some, not as much of a home run threat, but you can see now we've got this player that goes ahead and targets him and blocks him, allowing Gronkowski now not to have to worry about him. He goes up second level, and you can see how we're kind of just one block away, but we're able to get some short yardage. So when it comes to the quarterback draws, the empty tray stack to me is the best one. Any other 5 wide receiver where it's spread out is going to be better. But if you're in your playbook and have these ones that have these players here, you can see that they're attached to the line of scrimmage. You're going to look at some other motions in order to make it work. So for the last style, we're going to talk about a certain alignment, and we're going to show you the shotgun version and then the under center version. So the shotgun version is inside zone, but it's very specific on the alignment in order to make this work. And then the under center version is the halfback zone weak, okay? Now, the alignment is very simple. We need a compression set on the side in which we're running the ball. The best ones in the game are going to be your stacked formations, okay? So the gun wing stack inside zone is really, really good when it comes to running the ball, when it comes to blocking dollar, right? And I'm going to show you here just why, and then I'm going to go into the under center as well. So if they do this with dollar, do you see where this guy is right here for Marty? It doesn't matter if I'm the left hash mark, the right hash mark, the middle. He's going to get blocked because he goes and lines up above the player. So if I move this in the middle, it's not because of where we're on the hash mark. He's still going to be in that same spot, and we're going to be able to get him sealed off. And we always talk about that being the first thing we need to do. The second thing is we don't worry about the right side of the field. But with this play, if you look at Cleveland, the guard, he's going to go after the player that has the M over his head. And the reason why I put this as number 1, even though it's not always going to be a type of a home run play, the consistency of getting 5 to 7 is really, really good because of the way these guys target against dollars. So watch what happens here. You're going to see that we're going to have that ability to get this almost every single time and get up the field. And when you start getting and adding those AKA factors where you break that first tackle, this is very, very deadly. And the reason for it again is that this guy will get blocked by the compression right here. And 72 here, my left guard, will go straight up that field, leaving that ability that as long as you beat that right player up the field, which you always will on these really quick hitters, you're going to have that ability to get these yards and have a lot of success, okay? So that was the version when it comes to the gun version, right? Now, let's go to the single back under center version, which I talked about was going to be the halfback zone weak, right? So let's go to single back, and we'll go to the wing stack here, and we're going to be looking at the halfback zone weak, right? So we'll do the same thing, and you're going to see here that when they go ahead, you're going to get the seal off blocks for the left, and you're going to get your left guard to go after that left linebacker. And when you see that, again, what you're going to see is that this is going to open up like the Red Sea here and have a really nice ability to get those huge yards. That's why I like this the best, because it's so quick hitting that you're going to have a lot of success. Now, if you don't have these stack alignments in there, they're going to be under some different things. The single back wing flex close is going to be one that's going to be good. The double south here has that same principles. I want to talk about those principles. Principles being that we're going to be able to block the slot corner, and then we want the left guard to go second hand, right? Now this is going to be a little bit tighter, but you can see here that we have that ability to kind of have that same type of run and have a lot of success. Now, also, if you like it in shotgun, you could do the stack Y flex. And the reason why I talked about stack formations is because of the fact that you're going to have that ability to widen out those players. Now, this one does not do a great job blocking this corner, but it does do a good job of widening him out. So as long as our left guard can get to that second level like he does there, now we're going to have that ability to basically hit that hole and have a lot of success. So this style run is really good against Dollar because of the way that it attacks quickly, attacks inside, and attacks right out, typically what people are going to be using, which is the player opposite of the running back, and that's why it grows to success. Now, if you like this video, guys, please make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Definitely looking to grow this channel, throughout the summer and into Madden 24. And your support means a lot to us. Appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you on tomorrow's video.